Chapter 1. A Crush and a Confession. Yui Takahashi had a problem. It was a problem that had been growing for months, ever since she first noticed Riku Sato, the charming yet oblivious boy in her class. It was a problem that made her heart race and her palms sweat. She had a crush, and it was getting out of control. Yui watched Riku from her seat, her chin resting on her hand as he chatted with his friends. His laughter echoed through the classroom, making her smile despite herself. She sighed deeply, which did not go unnoticed by her best friend, Mika. Still staring at Riku, huh? Mika teased, nudging Yui with her elbow. Yui snapped out of her daydream, her face turning bright red. Shh, not so loud, Mika, Yui whispered fiercely, glancing around to make sure no one else had heard. I don't want anyone to know. Yui, you've been pining after him for ages. When are you going to do something about it? Mika asked, rolling her eyes. You should just confess already. Confess? Are you crazy? He'd never go out with someone like me, Yui said, her voice tinged with despair. You're smart, kind, and cute. Why wouldn't he? Mika replied, giving her friend an encouraging smile. Just go for it? Yui bit her lip, considering Mika's words. Maybe she was right, maybe it was time to take a chance. But how? That afternoon, Yui found herself pacing in the school courtyard, her heart pounding in her chest. She clutched a small envelope tightly in her hands. Inside was a letter she'd written the night before, pouring out her feelings for Riku. She took a deep breath, trying to summon the courage to find him and hand it over. Just as she was about to give up and retreat to the safety of her bedroom, she spotted Riku walking across the courtyard, alone. This was her chance. It was now or never. Riku, wait up, Yui called out, her voice trembling slightly. Riku turned around, surprised to see Yui running towards him. Hey, Yui, what's up? He asked, his usual easygoing smile on his face. Yui stopped in front of him, her face flushed and her hands shaking. I have something for you, she stammered, holding out the envelope. It's a letter from me to you? Riku looked at the envelope, then back at Yui, clearly confused. A letter? What for? It's a confession, Yui blurted out before she could lose her nerve. I like you, Riku. I've liked you for a long time. There was a moment of silence that felt like an eternity to Yui. Riku stared at her, his expression unreadable. Finally, he took the envelope from her hand and opened it, quickly scanning the contents. When he looked up, his face was a mixture of shock and something else Yui couldn't quite place. Yui, I don't know what to say, Riku said, scratching the back of his head awkwardly. I never realized you felt this way. Yui's heart sank. This wasn't going as she'd hoped. It's okay if you don't feel the same way, she said quickly, trying to save face. I just needed to tell you. Riku was silent for a moment, then he smiled. You're really brave, Yui. Not many people would have the courage to do what you just did. Thanks, Yui muttered, her face burning with embarrassment. So, what now? Well, I think we should get to know each other better, Riku said, surprising her. Why don't we hang out after school tomorrow? Maybe grab some coffee or something. Yui's eyes widened. Really? You want to hang out with me? Sure, I mean, we're friends, right? And who knows, maybe something more, Riku said with a wink. Yui felt a surge of hope. Maybe this wasn't a total disaster after all. Okay, coffee sounds great. As they parted ways, Yui couldn't help but feel a sense of relief. She had done it. She had confessed her feelings to Riku. And while it wasn't a perfect fairy tale ending, it was a start. She smiled to herself, looking forward to what tomorrow might bring. The next day, Yui could hardly concentrate in class. She kept glancing at the clock, counting down the minutes until school was over. Mika, noticing her friend's restless energy, leaned over and whispered, excited for your date with Riku. It's not a date, Yui hissed, though her heart fluttered at the thought. We're just hanging out. Sure, just hanging out, Mika said with a knowing smirk. Have fun, Yui. When the final bell rang, Yui practically jumped out of her seat. She met Riku at the school gate, her nerves returning with a vengeance. But Riku's friendly smile and easygoing manner quickly put her at ease. They walked to a nearby cafe, chatting about school and their favorite hobbies. Yui found herself laughing more than she had in a long time, enjoying Riku's company. It turned out they had more in common than she had realized, and the conversation flowed naturally. "So, what made you decide to confess to me?" Riku asked suddenly, catching Yui off guard. "I just couldn't keep it to myself anymore," Yui admitted, looking down at her coffee cup. "Every time I saw you, I felt like my heart was going to burst. I had to tell you, even if it meant getting rejected." Riku was silent for a moment, then he reached across the table and gently took her hand. "I'm really glad you told me, Yui. I think you're amazing." Yui's heart skipped a beat. "Riku, let's see where this goes," Riku said, his smile warm and sincere. "No pressure, no rush, just us." Yui felt tears prick her eyes, but they were tears of happiness. She nodded, unable to speak. As they left the cafe and walked home together, Yui realized that this was just the beginning. There would be challenges and misunderstandings, but for now, she was content. She had taken a leap of faith, and it had paid off. And with Rika by her side, she knew that anything was possible. Back in her room that night, Yui lay on her bed, a wide smile on her face. She replayed the events of the day in her mind, feeling a warm glow in her chest. She picked up her phone and texted Mika. "Yui, guess what? He wants to see where this goes." "Mika, I knew it. I'm so happy for you, Yui." Yui set her phone down and closed her eyes, feeling a sense of peace and excitement for the future. She had confessed her feelings, and it had brought her closer to Riku. Whatever happened next, she was ready. And so, Yui drifted off to sleep, dreaming of the adventures and laughter that awaited her and Riku in the days to come. Chapter 2: The Unexpected Club Advisor. The following week, Yui and Riku's newfound closeness became the talk of the class. Yui was both thrilled and embarrassed by the attention, but she couldn't help but smile every time she caught Riku's eye. They had been spending more time together, but always in the presence of friends or during school activities. Yui wondered if they would ever get a moment alone again. One afternoon, as Yui was organizing her textbooks at her locker, Riku approached her with a sheepish grin. "Hey, Yui, do you have a minute?" "Of course," she replied, closing her locker. "What's up?" "Well, I was thinking," Riku started, looking a bit nervous, "we should join a club together. It would give us more time to hang out." Yui's eyes lit up. "That's a great idea. But which club should we join?" "There's this new club forming, the School Life Club," Riku said. "It's supposed to be about improving the school experience for everyone. I thought it might be fun." Yui nodded enthusiastically. "That sounds perfect. Let's sign up." Later that day, they found themselves standing outside the School Life Club's meeting room. The door was slightly ajar, and they could hear voices inside. Riku knocked tentatively, and they stepped in to find a small group of students seated around a table, chatting animatedly. At the head of the table was a tall, slightly disheveled man with glasses. "Welcome," the man said, standing up. "You must be the new members. I'm Mr. Tanaka, the club advisor. Please, have a seat." Yui and Riku exchanged glances before sitting down. Mr. Tanaka's enthusiasm was infectious, and they quickly felt at ease. The other club members introduced themselves. There was Hana, a bubbly girl with a penchant for organizing events. Kenta, a quiet boy who loved photography. And Akeri, an artistic girl with a flair for design. Mr. Tanaka clapped his hands together. "All right, let's get started. Our goal is to make the school a better place for everyone. Any ideas?" Hana immediately raised her hand. "We could organize a spring festival, with games and food stalls, and maybe even a talent show." "Great idea, Hana," Mr. Tanaka said, jotting it down. "Anyone else?" Kenta spoke up, his voice barely above a whisper. "I think we should start a school newspaper. It could cover events, student achievements, and maybe even have a photography section." "Excellent," Mr. Tanaka exclaimed. "And what about you, Yui, Riku? Any thoughts?" Yui hesitated, then said, "Maybe we could create a suggestion box for students to share their ideas and concerns anonymously. That way, everyone feels like they have a voice." Riku nodded in agreement. "Yeah, and we could also hold monthly meetings with the student council to discuss the suggestions and see what we can implement." Wonderful, Mr. Tanaka beamed. I knew this club was a good idea. Let's start planning these projects. The weeks that followed were a whirlwind of activity. Yui and Riku found themselves spending almost every afternoon in the clubroom, brainstorming ideas and working on projects. Despite the chaos, Yui loved every minute of it. The club had brought them closer together, and she felt more confident and happy than ever before. One day, as they were decorating posters for the Spring Festival, Mr. Tanaka approached them with a mysterious smile. I have a surprise for you too, he said. Follow me. Curious, Yui and Riku followed him down the hall to a storage room. Inside, they found boxes filled with old school memorabilia books, trophies, and even some old uniforms. What's all this? Riku asked, looking around. These are treasures from the school's past, Mr. Tanaka explained. I thought it might be fun to create a school museum exhibit for the festival. You two seem to have a knack for bringing people together, so I thought you might like to spearhead this project. Yui's eyes sparkled with excitement. That sounds amazing. We'll do it. Riku grinned. Yeah, we'll make it the best exhibit ever. As they worked on the museum project, Yui and Riku spent hours poring over the old items, learning about the school's history. They laughed at the outdated fashion in the yearbooks and marveled at the achievements of past students. It was a lot of work, but they were having fun, and it felt like their bond was growing stronger with each passing day. One evening, as they were arranging the display cases, Yui found an old photograph of a student council from decades ago. She showed it to Riku, who chuckled at the serious expressions on the students' faces. Can you imagine what it was like back then? Yui mused. No smartphones, no social media. Just handwritten notes and face-to-face conversations. Sounds kinda nice, actually, Riku said, leaning closer to get a better look at the photo. Simple at times. They fell into a comfortable silence, the only sound being the rustling of papers and the distant hum of the school building. Yui glanced at Riku, feeling a warm sense of contentment. She realized that these quiet moments together, working side by side, were some of her favorites. Just then, Mr. Tanaka popped his head into the room. How's it going, you two? Great, we're almost done, Riku replied, straightening up. Good to hear. Remember, the festival is next week, so make sure everything is ready by then, Mr. Tanaka reminded them with a wink. And don't forget to have fun. The day of the Spring Festival arrived, and the school was abuzz with excitement. The School Life Club's booth was a hit, with students eagerly exploring the museum exhibit and participating in the various activities. Yui and Riku were running around, making sure everything was going smoothly. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the school grounds, Yui and Riku took a moment to catch their breath. They stood together, watching the festival goers enjoy the evening. We did it, Yui said, a sense of accomplishment in her voice. Yeah, we did, Riku agreed, smiling at her. And it was all thanks to you. Me, I couldn't have done it without you, Yui protested. Riku shook his head. You were the heart of this project, Yui. You're amazing. Yui felt her cheeks heat up, but she couldn't help but smile. Thanks, Riku, that means a lot. Just then, fireworks began to light up the sky, drawing oohs and ahs from the crowd. Yui and Riku watched in awe, the colorful explosions reflecting in their eyes. As the final firework burst into a spectacular display, Yui turned to Riku, her heart pounding. Riku, I. But before she could finish, Riku took her hand and squeezed it gently. I know, Yui, me too. Yui's breath caught in her throat, and she felt a rush of emotions. She didn't need to say anything else. In that moment, everything was perfect. They stood there, hand in hand, watching the fireworks together, knowing that this was just the beginning of their journey. As the festival came to an end, Yui and Riku helped clean up, their spirits high. They had created something special, and it was a memory they would cherish forever. The School Life Club had not only brought them closer together, but had also given them a sense of purpose and belonging. And with Mr. Tanaka's guidance and the support of their friends, Yui knew that they could accomplish anything they set their minds to. As they walked home that night, Yui felt a sense of peace and happiness that she had never felt before. She looked up at the stars, feeling grateful for the unexpected journey that had brought her and Riku together. Whatever the future held, she was ready to face it, knowing that she had Riku by her side. Chapter 3: Misunderstandings Galore. Yui and Riku's newfound closeness didn't go unnoticed by their classmates. Whispers and giggles followed them wherever they went, and it seemed like everyone had their own version of what was happening between them. Despite their best efforts to ignore the gossip, the misunderstandings kept piling up, leading to one awkward situation after another. One morning, Yui arrived at school to find a group of girls huddled together, whispering excitedly. As she walked past, she caught snippets of their conversation. "Did you hear? Yui and Riku are totally dating now. I saw them holding hands at the festival. They're so cute together." Yui's face turned bright red. She hurried to her classroom, hoping to escape the rumors, only to find Riku surrounded by his friends, who were grilling him about their relationship. "Come on, Riku, tell us the truth. Are you and Yui an item now?" one of his friends, Takumi, asked with a mischievous grin. Riku looked flustered. "It's not like that, guys. We're just friends. Friends who hold hands and spend all their time together," Takumi teased. "It's not what you think," Riku insisted, but his friends didn't seem convinced. Feeling a mix of embarrassment and frustration, Yui decided to talk to Riku during lunch. She needed to clear the air before things got even more out of hand. As they sat down to eat, Yui took a deep breath. "Riku, we need to talk." "Yeah, I know," Riku sighed. "The rumors are getting out of control. Maybe we should just tell everyone the truth," Yui suggested. "That we're still figuring things out." Riku nodded. "Yeah, that sounds like a good idea." Just as they were about to continue their conversation, Hana burst into the cafeteria, looking panicked. "Yui, Riku, we have a problem." Yui and Riku exchanged worried glances. "What happened?" Yui asked. "It's the suggestion box," Hana explained, catching her breath. "Someone put in a note saying that the school festival was a disaster and that we should disband the school life club." Yui's heart sank, but the festival was a success. Why would someone say that? "I don't know, but Mr. Tanaka wants us to meet in the clubroom right away," Hana said. In the clubroom, Mr. Tanaka looked unusually serious. The other club members were already there, looking anxious. "All right, everyone," Mr. Tanaka began, "I've read the note. And while it's clear that most students enjoyed the festival, we need to address this feedback seriously. Does anyone have any ideas on how to improve?" Kenta spoke up first. "Maybe we could have a feedback form for students to fill out anonymously. That way, we can get more detailed suggestions." "Good idea," Mr. Tanaka agreed. "What else?" Akeri raised her hand. "We could hold a follow-up meeting with the student council to discuss the feedback and see what changes we can make." "Excellent," Mr. Tanaka said. "And what about you, Yui, Riku? Any thoughts?" Yui hesitated, then said, "I think we should focus on communicating better with the students. If they feel like their voices are being heard, they might be more supportive." Riku nodded. "Yeah, and we could also organize more events that involve the whole school, not just the club members." Mr. Tanaka smiled. "Great ideas, everyone. Let's work on implementing these changes. And remember, one negative comment doesn't define us. We've done a lot of good, and we'll keep doing our best." As the days passed, Yui and Riku continued to deal with misunderstandings both in and out of the club. One afternoon, as they were putting up posters for the next event, they overheard a conversation that made them stop in their tracks. "Did you hear? Yui and Riku are planning to elope," a girl whispered to her friend. "What? No way," the friend exclaimed. Yui and Riku exchanged exasperated glances. "Where do they come up with this stuff?" Yui muttered. "I have no idea," Riku replied, shaking his head. "But we need to set the record straight." They decided to address the rumors head-on. The next day, during the morning assembly, they stood in front of the entire school, their hearts pounding. "Excuse me, everyone," Yui began, her voice trembling slightly. "We want to clear up some misunderstandings. Riku and I are not dating," she continued, glancing at Riku for support. "We're just friends, and we're working together in the school life club to make our school a better place." Riku nodded. "We appreciate all the support for the club, and we hope you'll continue to participate in our events." There was a murmur of agreement from the students, and Yui felt a wave of relief wash over her. As they stepped down from the stage, Riku gave her a reassuring smile. Later that day, they found themselves back in the clubroom, discussing plans for their next event. Despite the misunderstandings and rumors, Yui felt a sense of accomplishment. They had faced the challenges together, and their bond had only grown stronger. As the meeting wrapped up, Mr. Tanaka approached them with a grin. "You two handled that very well. I'm proud of you." "Thanks, Mr. Tanaka," Yui said, smiling. "Yeah, thanks," Riku added. "It wasn't easy, but we did it." Mr. Tanaka patted them on the back. "Keep up the good work. You're making a real difference." As they left the clubroom, Yui and Riku walked side by side, feeling more connected than ever. They had navigated the misunderstandings and come out stronger on the other side. And while the road ahead might still be filled with challenges, they knew they could face them together. With the support of their friends, the guidance of Mr. Tanaka, and their own determination, Yui and Riku were ready for whatever came next. And as they looked forward to the future, they knew that their journey was just beginning. That evening, as Yui lay in bed, she couldn't help but smile. Despite the misunderstandings and awkward moments, she was grateful for everything that had happened. It had brought her closer to Riku and made her realize how much she valued their friendship. And who knows, maybe one day, those rumors would become a reality. But for now, she was content with where they were, and she looked forward to the adventures that awaited them. Yui closed her eyes, feeling a sense of peace and happiness. She knew that whatever happened, she and Riku would face it together, and that was all that mattered. Chapter 4: The School Festival Frenzy. The excitement for the upcoming school festival was palpable. The entire school buzzed with anticipation as students prepared for the big event. The School Life Club had been working tirelessly to ensure everything went smoothly, and Yui and Riku were at the heart of it all. "We need to finalize the schedule for the talent show," Hannah said, tapping her clipboard. "And we still need more volunteers for the food stalls." "I'll help with the food stalls," Riku offered. "And Yui can handle the talent show schedule." Yui nodded, her hands full of colorful flyers. "Sounds good. I'll start assigning time slots to the performers." As the club members dispersed to their tasks, Yui and Riku exchanged a quick smile. Despite the chaos, they were enjoying the work and the time they got to spend together. The day of the festival arrived, and the school grounds were transformed into a vibrant, bustling fair. Brightly colored banners fluttered in the breeze, and the air was filled with the delicious aroma of various food stalls. Yui and Riku were busy running around, making sure everything was in order. "Riku, we need more napkins at the takoyaki stand," Yui called out, her voice barely audible over the crowd. "On it," Riku replied, dashing off to fetch the supplies. As Yui turned to head back to the stage area, she accidentally bumped into Sora, her childhood friend who had just transferred back to their school. He had been away for a few years, and his sudden reappearance had stirred up old memories and emotions. "Yui, it's been so long," Sora said, giving her a friendly hug. "Sora, I didn't know you were back," Yui said, surprised but happy to see him. "Yeah, I just transferred back last week. Thought I'd surprise everyone at the festival," Sora explained, his eyes twinkling. Riku returned with the napkins, stopping short when he saw Yui and Sora together. He felt a pang of jealousy but quickly brushed it aside. "Hey, Yui, here are the napkins." "Oh, thanks, Riku," Yui said, taking them from him. "Riku, this is Sora. He just transferred back to our school." "Nice to meet you, Sora," Riku said, offering a handshake. "Nice to meet you too, Riku," Sora replied, shaking his hand. "I've heard a lot about you." Yui felt the tension between them and quickly changed the subject. "I have to get back to the stage. The talent show is starting soon." "I'll come with you," Sora said, smiling. Riku watched them walk away, a knot forming in his stomach. He knew he had no reason to be jealous, but he couldn't help it. He shook his head and returned to his duties, determined to focus on the festival. The talent show was a huge success. Students showcased their talents, from singing and dancing to magic tricks and comedy acts. Yui managed the schedule perfectly, ensuring each performer had their moment to shine. As the final act took the stage, Yui stood backstage, feeling a sense of accomplishment. Sora approached her, holding 2 cups of lemonade. "You did a great job, Yui. Here, I got this for you." "Thanks, Sora," Yui said, accepting the drink. "It's been a lot of work, but it's worth it." "You've always been amazing at organizing things," Sora said, his gaze lingering on her. "I missed that about you." Yui felt a blush creep up her cheeks. "I missed you too, Sora. It's good to have you back." "Hey, Yui, Sora," Riku said, forcing a smile. "Great job with the talent show, Yui." "Thanks, Riku," Yui said, smiling back. It was a team effort. Sora glanced at Riku, then back at Yui. "So, what's next on the agenda?" "We have the closing ceremony and the fireworks," Yui replied. "It's going to be amazing. And now, to end this wonderful day, we have a special treat for you all, Mr. Tanaka announced, "Fireworks." The crowd cheered as the first firework shot into the sky, bursting into a cascade of colors. Yui and Riku stood together, watching the display in awe. Sora joined them, standing on Yui's other side. As the fireworks lit up the night, Yui felt a sense of peace and happiness. She glanced at Riku, who caught her eye and smiled. Despite the misunderstandings and the unexpected reappearance of Sora, Yui knew that her feelings for Riku were real and strong. When the final firework exploded in a brilliant display of light, Yui made a decision. She turned to Riku and took his hand, squeezing it gently. Riku looked at her, surprised but happy, and squeezed back. "Today was amazing," Yui said, her heart full. "Thank you for being there with me, Riku." "Anytime, Yui," Riku replied, his voice sincere. "I'm glad we got to do this together." Yui looked up at the stars, feeling grateful for the day's experiences and for Riku's presence in her life. She knew that there would be more challenges and misunderstandings ahead, but she was ready to face them with Riku by her side. As they reached Yui's house, she turned to Riku, her heart pounding. "Riku, I really like you, more than just as a friend." Riku's eyes widened in surprise, then softened with affection. "Yui, I like you too a lot." Yui felt a surge of happiness. "So, what does that make us?" Riku smiled. "How about we find out together?" Yui nodded, her heart soaring. "I'd like that." They stood there for a moment, basking in the glow of their newfound understanding, before saying their goodbyes and heading home. As Yui lay in bed that night, she felt a sense of excitement and anticipation for the future. She had confessed her feelings, and it had brought her and Riku closer together. Whatever came next, Yui knew she was ready. With Riku by her side, she felt like she could take on the world. Chapter 5. The rival appears. Yui's happiness from the festival and her deepening relationship with Riku was disrupted by the unexpected arrival of Sora. Though she was glad to see her childhood friend, his reappearance brought complications that neither she nor Riku anticipated. The Monday after the festival, Yui walked into the classroom to find Sora chatting animatedly with their classmates. He had quickly become popular, his charming demeanor and quick wit winning everyone over. Yui approached him with a smile. "Good morning, Sora, settling in well?" she asked. "Hey, Yui, yeah, everyone's been really welcoming," Sora replied, his eyes lighting up when he saw her. "Thanks again for helping me get acclimated." "No problem, it's great to have you back," Yui said, feeling a pang of nostalgia for their shared past. Riku entered the classroom just in time to see Yui and Sora laughing together. He felt a twinge of jealousy but tried to ignore it. He approached them with a casual smile. "Morning, Yui." "Morning, Sora," Riku greeted, giving Sora a friendly nod. "Hey, Riku, I was just telling Yui about my plans to join the school life club," Sora said, grinning. "I hope that's cool with you guys." "Of course," Yui said, glancing at Riku. "The more, the merrier, right?" "Yeah, sure," Riku replied, forcing a smile. "Welcome aboard." That afternoon, the school life club held its first meeting since the festival. The room was buzzing with excitement as they discussed their next project, a cultural exchange event with a nearby school. Mr. Tanaka explained the details, and everyone was eager to contribute. So, we need volunteers to help with the planning and execution, Mr. Tanaka said, who wants to take charge of the event schedule. I'll do it, Sora volunteered immediately, his hand shooting up. Yui looked at Riku, who nodded. We can help too, she said. It'll be a team effort. Excellent, Mr. Tanaka said. Let's make this event even better than the festival. As the meeting progressed, Yui couldn't help but notice the subtle tension between Riku and Sora. Both boys were polite, but seemed to be competing for her attention. It made Yui uncomfortable, but she tried to focus on the tasks at hand. One afternoon, as they were brainstorming ideas for the event, Sora suggested, how about a traditional tea ceremony demonstration? It could be a great way to showcase our culture. That's a good idea, Yui said, jotting it down. We could set up a dedicated area for it. I can help with the setup, Riku offered, trying to stay involved. And we should include a calligraphy workshop too. Perfect, Sora said, though his tone was slightly competitive. I'll handle the tea ceremony preparations. Yui felt the need to diffuse the tension. Great, let's work on both. We can meet tomorrow after school to finalize the details. The next day, Yui arrived at the clubroom to find Sora and Riku already there, setting up for their respective tasks. She took a deep breath, determined to keep things friendly. Hey, guys, ready to get started? Yui asked, trying to sound upbeat. Absolutely, Sora said, flashing her a smile. Let's do it, Riku agreed, though he kept a close eye on Sora. As they worked, Yui tried to engage both boys in conversation, hoping to ease the tension. So, Sora, what made you decide to come back to our school? Sora shrugged, his expression thoughtful. I missed this place, and I missed you, Yui. Riku stiffened slightly, but continued working on his part of the project. Yui blushed, feeling the weight of Sora's words. It's good to have you back, she said softly. But we've all changed a lot since you left. Yeah, I can see that, Sora said, glancing at Riku. But some things haven't changed at all. Riku finally spoke up, his voice firm but calm. Sora, we're all working towards the same goal here. Let's focus on making this event a success. Agreed, Sora said, though his eyes lingered on Yui for a moment longer than necessary. As the days passed, the preparations for the cultural exchange continued, and the rivalry between Riku and Sora became more pronounced. Despite Yui's best efforts, misunderstandings and awkward moments kept cropping up. One afternoon, as they were rehearsing for the tea ceremony, Sora accidentally spilled hot water on himself. Yui rushed to help him, grabbing a towel and fussing over him. Are you okay, Sora? Yui asked, her concern evident. Yeah, I'm fine thanks, Yui, Sora said, giving her a grateful smile. Riku watched from a distance, feeling a mixture of jealousy and frustration. He knew Sora wasn't a bad guy, but he couldn't shake the feeling that Sora was trying to come between him and Yui. Later that day, as they were packing up, Riku pulled Yui aside. Can we talk for a minute? Sure, Riku, what's up? Yui asked, sensing his unease. I feel like Sora is trying to take over everything, Riku admitted. And I can't help but feel like he's trying to win you back. Yui sighed, looking into Riku's eyes. Riku, Sora is my friend, but you need to trust me. My feelings for you haven't changed. I know, Riku said, his expression softening. It's just hard seeing him around you all the time. I get it, Yui said, squeezing his hand. But we need to work together. For the club and for us? Riku nodded, feeling reassured. You're right, I'll try to be more patient. The day of the cultural exchange arrived, and the event was a huge success. Students from both schools mingled, enjoying the various activities and learning about each other's cultures. The tea ceremony and calligraphy workshops were particularly popular, thanks to the combined efforts of Yui, Riku, and Sora. As the event drew to a close, Yui felt a sense of relief and accomplishment. She looked around, seeing the smiles on everyone's faces, and knew that all their hard work had paid off. Riku approached her, a genuine smile on his face. We did it, Yui. The event was amazing. Yeah, we did, Yui said, smiling back. Thanks for all your help, Riku. Sora joined them, his expression sincere. You both did a great job. I'm glad I could be a part of it. Thanks, Sora, Yui said, feeling a sense of closure. I'm glad you were here too. As they cleaned up, Yui felt a renewed sense of hope. She knew that there would always be challenges and misunderstandings, but she also knew that with Riku by her side, they could face anything together. And as she walked home that evening, flanked by Riku and Sora, Yui felt grateful for the friendships she had and the love that was growing stronger each day. The future was uncertain, but she was ready to embrace it, knowing that she was surrounded by people who cared about her. Whatever lay ahead, Yui knew that she would face it with courage and determination, and she couldn't wait to see where the journey would take her next. Chapter 6: Operation Matchmaker. Despite the success of the cultural exchange, the tension between Riku and Sora continued to simmer. Yui found herself caught in the middle, trying to balance her feelings for Riku with her friendship with Sora. The situation didn't go unnoticed by the other members of the school life club, who decided it was time to step in. One afternoon, Hana, Kenta, and Akari gathered in the clubroom after Yui, Riku, and Sora had left. Hana leaned forward, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "Okay, guys, we need to do something about this love triangle," she declared. "It's driving everyone crazy." Kenta nodded in agreement. "It's obvious that Yui and Riku like each other, but Sora keeps getting in the way. We need to help them out." Akari, ever the artist, sketched a quick diagram of their plan on the whiteboard. "I propose we set up a series of situations to bring Yui and Riku closer together. If they spend more time alone, maybe Sora will get the hint and back off." Hana clapped her hands. "Perfect. Let's call it Operation Matchmaker." The next day, Operation Matchmaker was in full swing. Hana, Kenta, and Akari carefully orchestrated scenarios designed to give Yui and Riku some alone time. They started with a simple plan, a study session in the library. "Yui, Riku, could you guys help me with some math problems after school?" Hana asked innocently. "I'm really struggling." "Sure, Hana," Yui replied, always willing to help. "Count me in," Riku added. When they arrived at the library, Hana quickly excused herself, leaving Yui and Riku alone. They exchanged puzzled glances but shrugged it off and got to work. As they studied, Yui felt a sense of peace. Being with Riku, even in silence, was comforting. After an hour, Riku leaned back in his chair, stretching. "We should take a break. Want to grab a snack?" "Sounds good," Yui agreed, smiling. They walked to the cafeteria, chatting about their favorite foods and upcoming school events. The more time they spent together, the more Yui realized how much she enjoyed Riku's company. As Yui and Riku worked on their project, they found themselves laughing and joking more than usual. Their easy camaraderie was undeniable, and Yui felt her heart flutter every time Riku smiled at her. One afternoon, as they were researching in the library, Riku suddenly grew serious. "Yui, can I ask you something?" "Of course," Yui replied, looking up from her notes. "How do you feel about Sora?" Riku asked, his eyes searching hers. Yui's heart skipped a beat. She knew this conversation was coming, but wasn't sure how to express her feelings. "Sora is a great friend, and I'm really glad he's back. But my feelings for you ... they're different, stronger." Riku sighed in relief, a smile spreading across his face. "I feel the same way, Yui. I just wanted to make sure." Yui reached out and squeezed his hand. "Thank you for understanding, Riku. It means a lot to me." Meanwhile, Sora was starting to notice the increased alone time between Yui and Riku. He approached Kenta one day, his expression thoughtful. "Hey, Kenta, have you noticed how much time Yui and Riku have been spending together lately?" Sora asked. Kenta feigned innocence. "Yeah, they've been working on a lot of projects together." "Why do you ask?" Sora sighed. I think I might be in the way. I don't want to come between them if they really like each other." Kenta nodded sympathetically. "Maybe it's time to let them figure things out on their own. You don't want to force anything." "You're right," Sora said, a look of determination on his face. "I just want Yui to be happy." The final phase of Operation Matchmaker involved a school trip to a nearby nature reserve. The club had planned a day of hiking, picnicking, and exploring. and Hana saw it as the perfect opportunity to bring Yui and Riku even closer. "Alright everyone, let's pair up for the hike," Hana announced as the group gathered at the trailhead. "Yui, Riku, why don't you two go together? Sora, you can come with me and Kenta." Yui and Riku exchanged smiles, grateful for the chance to spend more time together. As they hiked through the forest, they talked about their dreams for the future and shared stories from their childhoods. The more they talked, the more Yui felt her feelings for Riku deepen. At one point, they reached a beautiful clearing with a stunning view of the mountains. They sat down to rest, taking in the scenery. "Isn't it beautiful?" Yui said, her eyes sparkling. "Yeah, it is," Riku replied, though he was looking at her rather than the view. Yui blushed under his gaze, her heart pounding. "Riku, I..." Before she could finish, Riku leaned in and kissed her gently. It was a sweet, tender moment, and Yui felt a rush of happiness and relief. When they pulled away, Riku smiled. "I've wanted to do that for a long time," he admitted. "Me too," Yui said, her cheeks still flushed. "I'm glad you did." They spent the rest of the hike holding hands, feeling closer than ever. When they returned to the group, Hana, Kenta, and Akari couldn't hide their satisfied smiles. Operation Matchmaker had been a success. Sora approached her as they were packing up to leave. "Yui, can we talk for a minute?" "I just wanted to say that I see how happy Riku makes you," Sora said, his expression sincere. "And that's all I ever wanted for you. I'll always be your friend, no matter what." "Thank you, Sora," Yui said, feeling a surge of gratitude. "That means a lot to me." As they boarded the bus to head back to school, Yui sat next to Riku, feeling a sense of contentment. She glanced around at her friends, grateful for their support and the bond they shared. Whatever challenges lay ahead, Yui knew that she could face them with the people she cared about by her side. And as she leaned against Riku, feeling his warmth and presence, she knew that this was just the beginning of a beautiful journey together. Chapter 7: Valentine's Day Chaos. As winter melted into spring, the air at school was charged with anticipation for Valentine's Day. The tradition of giving chocolates, whether for romance or friendship, had everyone buzzing with excitement and nerves. Yui, who had been growing closer to Riku, found herself both eager and anxious about this special day. On the morning of Valentine's Day, Yui stood in her kitchen, staring at the neatly wrapped box of chocolates she had made for Riku. She had spent hours perfecting them, hoping they would convey her feelings. With a deep breath, she tucked the box into her bag and headed to school. The school halls were filled with students exchanging chocolates and laughter. Yui spotted Riku near his locker, surrounded by a few friends who were teasing him about the pile of chocolates he had already received. "Looks like someone's popular," Takumi joked, nudging Riku. "Come on, guys, it's just chocolates," Riku said, trying to downplay the attention. His eyes met Yui's across the hallway, and he gave her a warm smile that made her heart flutter. Yui approached, her hands nervously clutching the box in her bag. "Good morning, Riku." "Morning, Yui," Riku replied, his smile widening. "Happy Valentine's Day." "Happy Valentine's Day," Yui echoed, feeling her cheeks heat up. She was about to give him the chocolates when Hana rushed over, looking frantic. "Yui, we need your help," Hana exclaimed. "There's a mix-up with the chocolate orders for the class party, and everything is a mess." Yui's heart sank. She had wanted this moment with Riku to be special, but duty called. "Okay, Hana, he'll be right there." She turned to Riku, her disappointment evident. "He'll catch up with you later, Riku." Riku nodded, understanding in his eyes. "Sure, Yui, good luck." The day continued in a whirlwind of chaos. The chocolate mix-up turned out to be more complicated than Yui had anticipated. Somehow, the chocolates meant for different students had been switched, and now everyone was confused and upset. As Yui worked to sort out the mess, she couldn't help but feel a sense of urgency. She wanted to make sure everything was resolved so she could finally give Riku her chocolates. However, as lunchtime approached, the chaos seemed never-ending. During lunch, Yui sat with Hana, Kenta, and Akari, trying to come up with a plan to fix the situation. "We need to find a way to redistribute the chocolates correctly," Yui said, her brow furrowed in concentration. "I think we should set up a table in the hallway and have everyone come by to claim their chocolates." Kenta suggested. That way, we can make sure they get the right ones. Great idea, Kenta, Yui said, feeling a glimmer of hope. Let's do it. The rest of the day was a blur of activity as the club members worked to set up the table and organize the chocolates. Students lined up, and with the help of a master list, they were able to redistribute the chocolates correctly. By the time the final bell rang, Yui was exhausted but relieved that the chaos was finally over. She realized she hadn't seen Riku since the morning and hoped she hadn't missed her chance. As she was packing up her things, she felt a tap on her shoulder. She turned to see Riku standing there, holding a small box of chocolates. "Hey, Yui," Riku said, his smile making her heart skip a beat. "I've been looking for you all day." "I'm sorry, Riku," Yui said, feeling a wave of guilt. "The chocolate mix-up was a disaster, and I had to help fix it." "No need to apologize," Riku said, his voice gentle. "I figured you were busy. Here, I got these for you." Yui's eyes widened as she took the box from him. "You got my chocolates, of course," Riku said, his cheeks tinged with a faint blush. "I wanted to make sure you knew how much you mean to me." Yui felt tears of happiness welling up in her eyes. "Thank you, Riku, that means so much to me." She reached into her bag and pulled out her own box of chocolates. "I made these for you." Rika's face lit up as he accepted the box. "You made these, thank you, Yui, I can't wait to try them." Later that evening, as Yui sat in her room, she reflected on the events of the day. She was grateful for the support of her friends and the bond she shared with Riku. She knew that there would always be challenges and misunderstandings, but with the strength of their relationship, they could overcome anything. Yui picked up her phone and texted Riku. "Yui, thank you for the chocolates, Riku. Today was crazy, but it ended perfectly because of you." "Riku, you're welcome, Yui. I'm glad we could share it together. Looking forward to more days like this." Yui set her phone down, a smile spreading across her face. She knew that their journey was just beginning, and she couldn't wait to see where it would take them next. "Good morning, Yui," Riku said, his eyes bright with happiness. As they sat together, Yui felt a renewed sense of hope and determination. She knew that there would always be challenges, but with Riku by her side, she felt ready to face anything. And as they shared stories and laughter, Yui realized that Valentine's Day wasn't just about chocolates or grand gestures. It was about the connections they made, the support they offered each other, and the love that grew stronger with each passing day. As the school day came to an end, Yui and Riku walked home together, their hearts light and their spirits high. They talked about their dreams and plans for the future, feeling closer than ever. Whatever the future held, Yui knew that she and Riku would face it together, with love and laughter guiding their way. And she couldn't wait to see where their journey would take them next. Chapter 8: Summer Camp Adventures. As the school year progressed, the anticipation for the upcoming summer camp grew. The School Life Club had been planning this event for months, and the students were eager for a break from their studies and a chance to bond in a new environment. Yui, Riku, and their friends were especially excited, looking forward to the adventures that awaited them. The day of departure finally arrived. The students gathered at the school entrance, luggage in tow, chatting excitedly. Yui stood with Hana, Kenta, Akari, and Riku, their energy infectious. "Can you believe it's finally here?" Hana exclaimed, "I've been looking forward to this for so long." "I know, right?" Yui replied, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "I can't wait to see what activities they have planned." Riku, standing beside Yui, smiled. "It's going to be a great trip. I'm glad we can all experience it together." As they boarded the bus, Yui and Riku found seats next to each other, their hands brushing briefly. Yui felt a warmth spread through her, grateful for Riku's presence. They spent the ride chatting and laughing, the scenery outside changing from urban landscapes to lush, green forests. Upon arrival at the campgrounds, the students were greeted by the camp counselors, who quickly organized them into groups and outlined the schedule for the week. Activities ranged from hiking and canoeing to team-building exercises and evening campfires. Yui and Riku's group included Hana, Kenta, Akari, and a few other classmates. The first activity on their schedule was a hike through the forest. Yui and Riku walked side by side, the dappled sunlight filtering through the trees casting a magical glow. They chatted about their favorite summer memories, enjoying the peaceful surroundings. As they hiked, Yui stumbled on a tree root and nearly fell, but Riku caught her just in time. "Careful, Yui," he said, his voice filled with concern. "Thanks, Riku," Yui replied, her cheeks flushing. "I guess I was too busy talking to watch where I was going." "No problem," Riku said, smiling. "I've got your back." The highlight of the day was the canoeing activity. The students paired up and paddled across Serene Lake, the water reflecting the clear blue sky. Yui and Riku shared a canoe, their movements in sync as they navigated the gentle waves. "This is so relaxing," Yui said, dipping her fingers into the cool water. "It's nice to take a break from everything." "Yeah, it is," Riku agreed. "I'm glad we're doing this together." They paddled to the center of the lake and paused to take in the view. The surrounding mountains and forests created a picturesque scene, and Yui felt a sense of tranquility wash over her. "This is perfect," Yui said softly, looking at Riku. "Thank you for being here with me." Riku reached out and gently squeezed her hand. "I wouldn't want to be anywhere else." As the sun began to set, the students gathered around a large campfire for an evening of stories and songs. Mr. Tanaka, who had accompanied them as one of the chaperones, led the group in a few campfire songs, his enthusiasm infectious. "I remember when I first joined the school life club," Yui began, her voice steady. "I was nervous and unsure of myself, but I found a group of friends who supported me and helped me grow. I'm so grateful for each of you and the memories we've made together." There was a chorus of supportive murmurs and applause. Riku, sitting beside her, gave her an encouraging nod. "That was beautiful, Yui," he whispered. "Thanks, Riku," Yui replied, feeling a sense of pride and belonging. The next day was filled with team-building exercises designed to strengthen their bonds and foster cooperation. One of the activities involved a challenging ropes course, which required trust and communication. Yui and Riku partnered up, navigating the obstacles together. He boosted her up, and she reached the top, looking down at him with a mixture of exhilaration and nervousness. "You can do it, Riku," she called out, offering her hand. Riku grinned and took her hand, using her support to pull himself up. They stood on the platform, breathing heavily but smiling triumphantly. "We make a great team," Riku said, his eyes shining with pride. That evening, after another round of campfire stories and songs, Yui and Riku took a walk by the lake. The moonlight cast a silver glow over the water, creating a serene and romantic atmosphere. They strolled along the shore, their hands brushing occasionally. "Today was amazing," Yui said, breaking the comfortable silence. "I feel like we accomplished so much together." "Yeah, it was great," Riku replied, his voice soft. "I love spending time with you, Yui." Yui felt her heart swell with emotion. She stopped walking and turned to face Riku, her eyes reflecting the moonlight. "Riku, I really like you a lot." Riku took a step closer, his expression tender. "I really like you too, Yui. More than I can put into words." Yui's breath caught in her throat as Riku leaned in, closing the distance between them. Their lips met in a gentle, sweet kiss, the world around them fading away. It was a moment of pure magic, and Yui felt like she was floating. When they finally pulled away, Yui looked up at Riku, her heart pounding with happiness. "I'm so glad we found each other," she whispered. "Me too," Riku replied, his voice filled with emotion. "I can't imagine my life without you." As the bus rumbled down the winding roads, Yui rested her head on Riku's shoulder, her heart full of love and gratitude. She knew that their journey was just beginning, and she couldn't wait to see where it would take them next. Whatever the future held, Yui and Riku would face it together, their hearts united by the love and friendship they had found in each other. And that was the greatest adventure of all. Chapter 9. The School Play Disaster. As summer faded into autumn, the School Life Club began preparing for their next big project, the annual school play. This year, they decided on an ambitious adaptation of a classic Japanese folktale, The Tale of the Bamboo Cutter. Yui and Riku were excited about the challenge, but they soon realized that organizing a play was more complicated than they had anticipated. Mr. Tanaka, the ever-enthusiastic club advisor, stood before the group in the club room, his eyes gleaming with excitement. "All right, everyone, this play will be our most significant project yet. We'll need dedication, creativity, and a lot of hard work. But I know we can do it." The club members cheered, their spirits high. Yui was assigned the role of director, while Riku was tasked with managing the technical aspects, including lighting and sound. Hana, Kenta, and Akeri took on various roles, from acting to set design. Rehearsals began in earnest, and the initial enthusiasm was palpable. The cast members threw themselves into their roles, and the backstage crew worked tirelessly to create stunning sets and costumes. Yui found herself juggling multiple responsibilities, from directing the actors to ensuring the set designs were progressing smoothly. One afternoon, as Yui was reviewing the script, she noticed Sora and Riku working on the lighting setup. Sora had joined the technical team, and while his intentions were good, his presence often led to unintentional chaos. "Hey, Yui, can you come over here for a second?" Riku called out, waving her over. "Sure," Yui replied, walking over to the stage. "What's up?" "We're having some trouble with the lighting cues," Riku explained, his brow furrowed. "Sora and I can't seem to get them synchronized with the scenes." Sora scratched his head, looking frustrated. "I think we need to reprogram the whole system. It's going to take a while." Yui sighed, feeling the weight of the project on her shoulders. "All right, let's take a break and then tackle it together. We can't afford to fall behind schedule." As the days went by, the challenges seemed to multiply. One of the lead actors came down with a severe cold and had to miss several rehearsals. The costumes were delayed due to a shipment error, and the set pieces weren't coming together as planned. Despite the setbacks, Yu remained determined. She spent long hours at school, coordinating with the club members and troubleshooting problems as they arose. Riku was always by her side, offering support and encouragement. "You're doing an amazing job, Yui," Riku said one evening as they worked late into the night. "I know it's tough, but we're making progress." "Thanks, Riku," Yu replied, her voice tinged with exhaustion. "I just want everything to be perfect." "It will be," Riku assured her. "We've got a great team, and we're all in this together." The night of the dress rehearsal arrived, and tensions were high. The cast and crew were exhausted, but hopeful that their hard work would pay off. Yui stood backstage, her heart pounding as she watched the actors prepare for their final run-through. "Places, everyone," she called out, her voice steady despite her nerves. The rehearsal began smoothly, with the actors delivering their lines with confidence and the technical crew executing their cues flawlessly. Yui allowed herself a moment of relief, thinking that maybe, just maybe, everything would be all right. However, disaster struck during a crucial scene. The lighting system malfunctioned, plunging the stage into darkness. The actors froze, unsure of what to do, and the audience of teachers and students began murmuring in confusion. Riku and Sora scrambled to fix the problem, but it was clear that the issue was more complex than they had anticipated. Yui felt panic rising in her chest as she rushed to the control booth. "What happened?" she asked, her voice strained. "The system crashed," Riku explained, his fingers flying over the controls. "We're trying to reboot it, but it might take a while." Yui took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. "All right, let's keep the cast calm and see if we can get this fixed quickly." As the minutes ticked by, the tension backstage grew. Yui knew they couldn't afford to lose confidence now, not when the actual performance was just a day away. She gathered the cast and crew, addressing them with as much reassurance as she could muster. "Everyone, we're facing some technical difficulties, but we can't let this shake us," Yui said, her voice firm. "Let's take a short break, and we'll resume as soon as we can. We've come too far to let this stop us." The cast nodded, their spirits bolstered by Yui's determination. They took a brief break, sipping water and chatting nervously as Riku and Sora worked frantically to fix the lighting system. After what felt like an eternity, the lights flickered back on. Riku and Sora exchanged relieved glances before giving Yui a thumbs up. "We're back online," Riku announced. "Let's finish this rehearsal strong." Yui felt a surge of gratitude and pride. "All right, everyone, let's give it our all. Back to your positions." The rehearsal resumed, and despite the earlier setback, the cast and crew rallied together, delivering a performance that left Yui feeling hopeful for the real show. The day of the actual performance arrived, and the auditorium was filled with students, teachers, and parents. The energy was electric, and Yui felt both nervous and excited as she made final preparations with the team. Backstage, she gathered the cast and crew for a final pep talk. "We've faced a lot of challenges, but we've also shown incredible resilience and teamwork. Let's put on a show that we'll all be proud of. Break a leg, everyone." The lights dimmed and the curtain rose. The performance began smoothly, with the actors delivering their lines with confidence and the technical crew executing their cues perfectly. Yui watched from the wings, her heart swelling with pride as she saw her friends bring the story to life. As the play reached its climax, Yui held her breath, praying that everything would go according to plan. The pivotal scene arrived, and the actors delivered their lines with such emotion that the audience was captivated. The lighting and sound effects enhanced the atmosphere, creating a truly magical experience. When the final scene ended, the audience erupted into applause. Yui felt tears of joy welling up in her eyes as the cast took their bows. She joined them on stage, beaming with pride. "Thank you all for coming and supporting us," Yui said, addressing the audience. "This play was a labor of love, and we couldn't have done it without the hard work and dedication of everyone involved." As the applause continued, Yui glanced at Riku, who was standing beside her. He gave her a thumbs up, his eyes filled with pride. Later that evening, as they celebrated their success with a small party in the clubroom, Yui felt a deep sense of fulfillment. The challenges and setbacks had only made their victory sweeter, and the bonds they had formed through the experience were stronger than ever. Riku pulled Yui aside, a smile playing on his lips. "You were amazing, Yui, I'm so proud of you." "Thanks, Riku," Yui replied, feeling a warmth spread through her. "I couldn't have done it without you and everyone else." Riku took her hand, his expression serious. "I mean it, Yui. You're an incredible leader, and I'm so glad we got to do this together." Yui felt her heart flutter at his words. "Me too, Riku. This has been an unforgettable experience." As they rejoined the celebration, Yui looked around at her friends, feeling a deep sense of gratitude for the journey they had shared. The school play had been a test of their resilience and teamwork, and they had emerged stronger for it. With Riku by her side and the support of her friends, Yui knew that they could face any challenge that came their way. And as they toasted to their success, she felt a renewed sense of hope and excitement for the adventures that lay ahead. Whatever the future held, Yui was ready to embrace it, knowing that she was surrounded by people who believed in her and each other. And that was the greatest gift of all. Chapter 10: Confessions and Fireworks. The summer festival was one of the most anticipated events of the year, and the entire school was abuzz with excitement. Stalls lined the school grounds, offering a variety of food, games, and attractions. The air was filled with laughter, the aroma of delicious treats, and the sound of traditional music. Yui and her friends were thrilled to be a part of the festivities, and the School Life Club had been working hard to ensure everything went smoothly. As the sun set, the festival grounds were illuminated by the warm glow of lanterns, creating a magical atmosphere. Yui walked through the festival with Riku, her heart pounding with anticipation. Tonight, she hoped to finally share her true feelings with him. "Everything looks amazing," Riku said, admiring the decorations. "The club did a great job." "Yeah, everyone worked really hard," Yui replied, smiling. "I'm glad it's all coming together." They stopped by a food stall, and Riku bought takoyaki, handing one to Yui. "Here, I know you love these." "Thanks, Riku," Yui said, taking a bite. The sweet, warm filling melted in her mouth, and she sighed with contentment. "These are the best." As they wandered through the festival, they played games, tried different foods, and enjoyed the various attractions. Yui couldn't help but feel a sense of nostalgia, remembering all the moments they had shared together over the past year. The highlight of the evening was the fireworks display, which was scheduled to start at the end of the festival. Yui and Riku found a spot on a hill overlooking the festival grounds, where they could watch the fireworks in peace. They spread out a blanket and sat down, the excitement in the air palpable. "This is the perfect spot," Yui said, looking out at the twinkling lights below. I can't wait for the fireworks. Me neither, Riku agreed, glancing at her. Yui, there's something I've been meaning to talk to you about. Yui's heart skipped a beat. What is it, Riku? Riku took a deep breath, his expression serious. I know we've been through a lot together, and I've realized something important. I really like you, Yui, more than just as a friend. Yui felt a rush of emotions, her heart swelling with happiness. Riku, I feel the same way. I've wanted to tell you for so long. Riku's eyes lit up, and he reached for her hand. Really? I'm so glad to hear that. As the fireworks continued, Riku leaned closer to Yui, his hand still holding hers. Yui, would you like to be my girlfriend? Yui's heart soared. Yes, Riku, I'd love that. Riku's smile was radiant as he gently squeezed her hand. They sat together, watching the fireworks and feeling the warmth of their newfound relationship. The night was perfect, and Yui knew she would cherish this moment forever. After the fireworks display ended, Yui and Riku stayed on the hill, enjoying the peacefulness of the night. The sounds of laughter and music gradually faded into the distance. I'm so happy right now, Yui said, resting her head on Riku's shoulder. This night has been amazing. Me too, Riku replied, wrapping his arm around her. I feel like everything is finally falling into place. They sat in comfortable silence, basking in the glow of their confession and the beauty of the night. Yui felt a deep sense of contentment, knowing that she and Riku were starting a new chapter together. Finally, we've been waiting for this, Hana exclaimed, giving them both a big hug. Congratulations, you two. Thanks, Hana, Yui said, blushing. It feels like a dream. Kenta grinned. We're really happy for you. You two make a great couple. Akari nodded in agreement. It's about time. We've all been rooting for you. The next day at school, word had spread about Yui and Riku's new relationship. Their classmates congratulated them, and the atmosphere was filled with a sense of joy and celebration. Yui felt like she was walking on air, her heart light with happiness. During lunch, Yui and Riku sat together, sharing their plans for the future. I can't wait to spend more time with you, Riku said, his eyes filled with warmth. We have so many adventures ahead of us. Me too, Yui replied, feeling a surge of excitement. I want to make the most of every moment with you. As they talked, Yui realized how much she had grown over the past year. She had faced challenges, made new friends, and discovered her own strength. And now, with Riku by her side, she felt ready to take on anything. One afternoon, Yui and Riku visited a local park, enjoying the crisp autumn air. They walked hand in hand, the fallen leaves crunching under their feet. Remember when we first started working together in the school life club? Yui asked, smiling at the memory. We had no idea what we were getting into. Yeah, Riku said, chuckling. But it brought us closer, and I wouldn't change a thing. They found a bench by a small pond and sat down, watching the ducks swim by. Yui felt a sense of peace and contentment, grateful for the journey that had brought them to this point. Riku, I'm so glad we found each other, Yui said, her voice filled with emotion. You mean everything to me. You mean everything to me too, Yui, Riku replied, his eyes shining with love. I can't wait to see what the future holds for us. They sat together, enjoying the simple beauty of the moment and the promise of a bright future ahead. Yui knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, she and Riku would face them together, their love growing stronger with each passing day. And as they walked hand in hand, their hearts full of hope and happiness, Yui knew that their story was just beginning. The world was full of possibilities, and she couldn't wait to see where their journey would take them next. Chapter 11: Jealousy and Hijinks. With Yui and Riku now officially a couple, their relationship blossomed, and the days at school were filled with joy and new adventures. However, not everything was smooth sailing. Sora, Yui's childhood friend, still harbored feelings for her, and his presence began to stir up unexpected jealousy and amusing antics. One morning, Yui arrived at school to find Sora waiting by her locker. He greeted her with a bright smile and a small gift box. Good morning, Yui. I got you something. Oh, Sora, you didn't have to, Yui said, surprised but touched by the gesture. I wanted to, Sora insisted, handing her the box. Open it. Yui opened the box to find a beautiful charm bracelet. "It's lovely, Sora, thank you so much." "Anything for you," Sora said with a wink. Just then, Riku appeared, his eyes narrowing slightly at the sight of Sora. "Morning, Yui, Sora." "Morning, Riku," Yui replied, sensing the tension. "Look, Sora got me this beautiful bracelet." Riku forced a smile. "That's nice, very thoughtful of you, Sora." "Anything for Yui," Sora repeated, his tone light, but his gaze steady. As the days went by, Sora's attempts to win Yui's affection became more frequent. He brought her lunch, helped her with assignments, and found every opportunity to be around her. While Yui appreciated his kindness, she couldn't help but feel the growing awkwardness between him and Riku. One afternoon, as the school life club was preparing for an upcoming event, Sora approached Yui with a bouquet of flowers. "For you, Yui, just because." Yui blushed, taking the flowers. "Thank you, Sora, you really shouldn't keep doing this." "It's my pleasure," Sora said, casting a glance at Riku, who was watching from across the room. Riku walked over, his expression unreadable. "Nice flowers, Sora, you're really going all out." "Just showing Yui how much she means to me," Sora replied, his tone cheerful. Yui sensed the tension and decided to intervene. "Why don't we all take a break? I think we could use some fresh air." Later that day, as Yui and Riku walked home together, Riku finally voiced his feelings. "Yui, I know Sora is your friend, but his constant attention is starting to bother me." Yui sighed, knowing this conversation was inevitable. "I understand, Riku, but Sora has always been like this. He's just trying to be a good friend." "I get that," Riku said, his frustration evident. "But it feels like he's trying to come between us." Yui stopped walking and turned to face Riku. "Riku, you have nothing to worry about. I care about you, and nothing Sora does will change that." Riku's expression softened. "I know, Yui, I trust you. It's just hard seeing him around all the time, trying to win you over." "I'll talk to him," Yui promised. "I'll make sure he understands how I feel." The next day, Yui found an opportunity to talk to Sora alone. They sat under a tree in the school courtyard, the shade providing a cool respite from the afternoon sun. "Sora, I need to talk to you about something important," Yui began, her tone gentle but firm. "Sure, Yui, what's on your mind?" Sora asked, sensing the seriousness in her voice. "I appreciate everything you've done for me, and I'm grateful for your friendship," Yui said, choosing her words carefully. "But I need you to understand that Riku is the one I care about. He's my boyfriend, and I need you to respect that." Sora's expression fell, but he nodded slowly. "I see. I'm sorry if I've been overstepping. I just wanted to show you how much you mean to me." "I know, Sora, and I value our friendship," Yui said, reaching out to squeeze his hand. "But I need you to give Riku and me some space." Sora sighed, looking down at their joined hands. "I'll try, Yui. I just want you to be happy." "I am happy, Sora," Yui said, smiling. "And I want you to be happy too." Yui couldn't help but laugh at their antics. "You guys are ridiculous." As the game progressed, Sora accidentally threw the ball too hard, hitting Riku square in the chest. Riku stumbled back, but quickly recovered, his competitive spirit undeterred. "Nice shot, Sora," Riku said, a hint of challenge in his voice. "But I won't go down that easily." At one point, Yui, Riku, and Sora found themselves at the top of the Ferris wheel, the view of the park sprawling out beneath them. The ride's slow pace allowed for a rare moment of calm. "Isn't this view amazing?" Yui said, her eyes sparkling with wonder. "It is," Riku agreed, glancing at her with a smile. Yui reached out and took Riku's hand, feeling a sense of peace. "Me too, Sora, and I'm glad we can still be friends." Riku nodded, his jealousy easing. "Yeah, Sora, you're a good friend." Sora managed a small smile. "Thanks, guys. I'll do my best to respect your relationship." That evening, as they walked back to the school, Yui and Riku lagged behind the group, enjoying a quiet moment together. The night sky was filled with stars, and the air was cool and refreshing. "Today was fun," Yui said, leaning into Riku's side. "I'm glad we could all spend time together." "Me too," Riku replied, his arm around her shoulders. And I'm glad we talked things out with Sora. Riku smiled, looking down at her. I love you, Yui. I love you too, Riku, Yui replied, her heart swelling with happiness. Yui felt a deep sense of gratitude for the friendships she had and the love she shared with Riku. The jealousy and hijinks had been challenging, but they had also strengthened their bond. With the support of her friends and the love of Riku, Yui felt ready to embrace whatever the future held. And as they walked into the sunset, hand in hand, she knew that their journey was just beginning, filled with endless possibilities and new adventures. Chapter 12. A Date to Remember. With the school year in full swing and the challenges of the past behind them, Yui and Riku decided it was time for their first official date. After much deliberation, they settled on a day trip to a nearby city known for its scenic parks, quaint cafes, and vibrant arts district. The morning of their date, Yui woke up early, her heart fluttering with excitement. After a final check in the mirror, she grabbed her bag and headed out, feeling a mix of anticipation and nervousness. Riku was waiting for her at the train station, his smile broad and welcoming. He wore a casual yet stylish outfit, looking as excited as Yui felt. Good morning, Yui, he said, taking her hand. You look beautiful. Thank you, Riku, Yui replied, her cheeks flushing. You look great too. They boarded the train, finding seats by the window. As the train sped towards their destination, they chatted about their plans for the day, their excitement palpable. Yui loved how easy it was to talk to Riku, their conversation flowing naturally. Their first stop was the city's famous botanical garden. The sun was shining, casting a warm glow over the myriad of flowers in bloom. Yui and Riku wandered through the garden, marveling at the vibrant colors and intricate designs of the various flower beds. This place is amazing, Yui said, stopping to admire a particularly beautiful patch of roses. I can't believe I've never been here before. Me neither, Riku agreed. It's the perfect place for a date. They took numerous photos, capturing the beauty of the garden and their moments together. Yui felt a sense of peace and happiness, the worries of school and daily life melting away. I could get used to this, Riku said, taking a sip of his coffee. Just you and me, exploring new places. Me too, Yui replied, feeling a warm glow inside. This is perfect. After lunch, they strolled through the arts district, stopping by various galleries and shops. Yui was particularly taken by a small art studio where local artists showcased their work. They spent time admiring the paintings and sculptures, discussing their favorites. As they left the studio, they stumbled upon a street performer playing the violin. The music was enchanting, and Yui felt drawn to it. They stood together, listening to the melodies and enjoying the moment. Riku turned to Yui, a thoughtful expression on his face. Would you like to dance? Yui's eyes widened in surprise. Here, now. Why not? Riku said, offering his hand. Let's make this day even more memorable. Yui hesitated for a moment, then placed her hand in his. They moved to a quieter corner of the street, where Riku gently guided her into a dance. The music flowed around them, and Yui felt like they were in their own little world. As they danced, Yui couldn't help but laugh, feeling a mix of joy and disbelief. This is like something out of a movie. Maybe we're the stars, Riku said, grinning. And this is our story. The final stop on their itinerary was the city's waterfront park, known for its stunning views and serene atmosphere. They arrived just as the sun was beginning to set, casting a golden glow over the water. They found a spot on a grassy hill overlooking the bay and sat down, the cool breeze rustling the leaves around them. Yui leaned against Riku, feeling content and happy. This has been the best day, Yui said, her voice soft. Thank you, Riku. Thank you, Yui, Riku replied, his eyes reflecting the colors of the sunset. I couldn't have asked for a better day or a better person to spend it with. They watched the sun dip below the horizon, the sky painted with hues of orange, pink, and purple. As the first stars began to appear, Riku turned to Yui, his expression serious yet tender. Yui, I know we've only been dating for a short time, but I've never felt this way about anyone before, Riku said, taking her hand. You make me so happy, and I can't imagine my life without you. Yui's heart swelled with emotion. I feel the same way, Riku. Being with you has been the best thing that's ever happened to me. Riku smiled, leaning in to kiss her gently. Here's to many more days like this. Yui kissed him back, feeling a deep sense of love and connection. To many more days, she echoed. As they made their way back to the train station, Yui and Riku talked about their favorite moments from the day, laughing and reminiscing. They boarded the train, finding seats by the window once again. The ride home was quiet and peaceful, a perfect end to a perfect day. Yui rested her head on Riku's shoulder, feeling his steady heartbeat. I don't want this day to end, she murmured. Me neither, Riku said, his voice soft. But we have so many more days ahead of us, Yui. This is just the beginning. Yui smiled, feeling a sense of hope and excitement for the future. She knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. And with Riku by her side, she felt ready for anything. The next day at school, their friends eagerly asked about their date. Yui and Riku shared their stories, their faces glowing with happiness. That sounds like an amazing day, Hannah said, her eyes shining. I'm so happy for you too. Thanks, Hannah, Yui replied, feeling grateful for her friend's support. It really was a day to remember. With each passing day, Yui and Riku grew closer, their love deepening and their connection strengthening. They faced new adventures and challenges, always supporting each other and growing together. And as they walked hand in hand through the halls of their school, Yui knew that their journey was just beginning. The world was full of possibilities, and she couldn't wait to see where their path would lead them next. Whatever the future held, Yui was confident that they would face it together, their hearts united by the love and friendship they had found in each other. And that was the greatest adventure of all. Chapter 13, Club Championship Challenge. With the success of their various projects and events, the School Life Club had built a reputation as one of the most active and creative clubs in school. However, they faced their biggest challenge yet, the annual club championship. This event brought together all the school clubs in a series of competitions, testing their skills, teamwork, and creativity. Winning the championship was a matter of pride, and the School Life Club was determined to give it their best shot. The club championship kicked off with a grand opening ceremony in the school gymnasium. Banners hung from the rafters, and students filled the bleachers, cheering for their respective clubs. Mr. Tanaka, the club advisor, gathered the School Life Club members for a pep talk. All right, everyone, this is our chance to show what we're made of, Mr. Tanaka said, his enthusiasm infectious. We've worked hard, and now it's time to shine. Let's give it our all and have fun. The club members cheered, their spirits high. Yui, Riku, Hannah, Kenta, and Akeri exchanged determined looks. They were ready to take on whatever challenges lay ahead. The first event was a trivia competition, testing their knowledge on a wide range of subjects. The School Life Club faced off against the Science Club in a heated battle of wits. Yui and Hannah took the lead, answering questions on history, literature, and pop culture with ease. Question: what is the capital of Australia? The quizmaster asked. Canberra, Yui and Hannah shouted in unison, earning a point for their team. The competition was fierce, but the School Life Club emerged victorious, thanks to their teamwork and diverse knowledge base. Next up was the obstacle course, a test of physical endurance and agility. Riku and Kenta took on this challenge, their athleticism and coordination proving to be an asset. The course was filled with hurdles, rope climbs, and balance beams, but they navigated it with skill and determination. Come on, Riku, you can do it, Yui cheered from the sidelines, her heart pounding with excitement. Riku and Kenta worked together seamlessly, encouraging each other and pushing their limits. They crossed the finish line in record time, securing another win for the School Life Club. The third event was a talent show, allowing each club to showcase their unique abilities. Akeri, with her artistic flair, led the club in creating a stunning visual performance. They combined elements of dance, music, and visual arts to tell a captivating story. The audience watched in awe as Akeri painted a large canvas live on stage, her movements synchronized with the dancers and musicians. The final piece was a beautiful mural that represented the spirit of the school and the unity of the students. The judges were impressed, awarding the School Life Club high marks for their creativity and execution. As the championship progressed, the school life club continued to excel in various events, from a cooking competition to a debate. Yui gathered the club members before the hunt began, her eyes filled with determination. "We've come so far, and this is our last challenge. Let's work together and finish strong." The scavenger hunt started with a flurry of activity as teams raced to decipher the first clue. Yui, Riku, Hana, Kenta, and Akeri divided the tasks, each focusing on their strengths. "Look for something that flies but doesn't have wings," Riku read aloud, scratching his head. "Maybe it's a paper airplane," Kenta suggested, his eyes scanning the area. At one point, they had to solve a riddle to unlock a box containing the next clue. Yui and Hana put their heads together, their minds racing. "I'm the beginning of the end, and the end of time and space." "What am I?" Yui read aloud. "It's the letter E," Hana exclaimed, and they quickly entered the answer, unlocking the box. As the scavenger hunt drew to a close, the school life club found themselves neck and neck with the debate club, their main rivals. The team spread out, searching every nook and cranny. Yui felt the pressure mounting, but "I think I found it." Riku rushed over, helping her retrieve the key. They sprinted to the finish line, the debate club hot on their heels. With one final burst of speed, they crossed the line and unlocked the trophy, securing their victory. The gymnasium erupted in cheers as the school life club was declared the champions. Yui felt a surge of pride and relief, the culmination of their hard work and teamwork. Mr. Tanaka raised a glass, his eyes twinkling with pride. To the school life club for their incredible dedication, teamwork, and creativity. "You have made us all proud." As the evening continued, Yui and Riku found a quiet moment to themselves. They stood on the balcony, the cool night air a welcome contrast to the warmth inside. "We did it," Yui said, her voice filled with wonder. "I can't believe we actually won." Riku smiled, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. "We did, and it was all thanks to you. You're an amazing leader, Yui." "Thanks, Riku," Yui replied, leaning into him. "But it was a team effort. We couldn't have done it without everyone." "True," Riku said, his eyes softening. "But you were the heart of it all." Yui felt a rush of emotion, her heart swelling with love and pride. "I couldn't have asked for a better team or a better boyfriend." Riku leaned in and kissed her gently. "And I couldn't have asked for a better girlfriend." As the night drew to a close, Yui and her friends left the school, their hearts full of joy and accomplishment. And as they walked into the night, Yui felt a deep sense of gratitude for the adventure they had shared and the love that had grown between them. It was a journey of growth, friendship, and love, and it was only just beginning. Chapter 14. The Truth Comes Out. The weeks following the club championship were filled with a sense of achievement and camaraderie. However, amidst the celebrations and daily activities, Yui began to notice subtle changes in Sora's behavior. He seemed more distant and distracted, often finding excuses to avoid spending time with the group. Yui couldn't shake the feeling that something was bothering him, and she resolved to find out what was going on. One afternoon, Yui found Sora alone in the clubroom, staring out the window with a troubled expression. She approached him quietly, her concern evident. "Sora, is everything okay?" Yui asked gently. "You've seemed a bit off lately." Sora turned to her, his eyes filled with a mixture of sadness and frustration. "Yui, there's something I need to tell you. Something I've been keeping to myself for a long time." Yui's heart skipped a beat. "What is it, Sora? You can tell me anything." Sora took a deep breath, his hands trembling slightly. "I still have feelings for you, Yui. I've tried to move on and be happy for you and Riku, but it's been really hard. Seeing you two together, it's like a constant reminder of what I can't have." Yui felt a pang of guilt and sorrow. She had suspected Sora's feelings, but hearing him confess them so openly was painful. "Sora, I'm so sorry, I never wanted to hurt you." "It's not your fault, Yui," Sora said, shaking his head. "I just needed to tell you the truth, even if it doesn't change anything." Yui reached out and took his hand, her eyes filled with compassion. "I understand, Sora, and I appreciate your honesty. But I love Riku, and I can't change that. I hope we can still be friends." Sora managed a small smile. "I hope so too, Yui. I just need some time to sort out my feelings." As Yui left the club room, her mind was swirling with emotions. She knew she had to tell Riku about her conversation with Sora, but she wasn't sure how he would react. She found Riku in the courtyard, sitting under their favorite tree, and joined him. "Hey, Yui," Riku said, smiling as she approached. "What's up?" Yui took a deep breath, deciding to be completely honest. "Riku, I just talked to Sora. He told me he still has feelings for me." Riku's smile faded, replaced by a look of concern. "I see. How do you feel about that?" "I feel terrible," Yui admitted. "I never wanted to hurt him, but I love you, Riku. I told him that, and he understands. He just needs some time to process everything." Riku reached out and took her hand, his expression serious but supportive. "Thank you for telling me, Yui. I trust you, and I know this isn't easy for you either." Yui felt a wave of relief and gratitude. "I just want everything to be okay between us, Riku. You're the most important person in my life." Riku smiled, his eyes filled with love. "And you're the most important person in mine, Yui. We'll get through this together." Over the next few days, the atmosphere among their group was a bit strained, but they tried to maintain their usual routines. Sora kept his distance, and while it was difficult, Yui understood that he needed space. "Everyone, I think there's something we need to talk about," Yui said, her voice steady. "Sora has been dealing with some personal stuff, and I think we should all support him as much as we can." Sora looked up, surprised by Yui's direct approach. "Yui, you don't have to." "Yes, I do, Sora," Yui interrupted gently. "We're all friends here, and we care about each other. If anyone needs to talk or needs support, we're here for them." The other club members nodded in agreement, their expressions supportive. Hannah reached out and placed a hand on Sora's shoulder. "We're all in this together, Sora. If you ever need to talk, we're here." Kenta and Akeri echoed Hannah's sentiments, offering their support as well. Sora looked around at his friends, his eyes filled with gratitude and relief. "Thank you, everyone, it means a lot to me." Yui and Riku's relationship continued to strengthen, their bond growing deeper with each passing day. They found a secluded spot by a lake and sat down, the gentle sound of water lapping at the shore creating a peaceful atmosphere. "Riku, I want to thank you for being so understanding," Yui said, resting her head on his shoulder. "This whole situation with Sora has been tough, but you've been amazing." Riku smiled, wrapping his arm around her. "I love you, Yui, and I trust you. As long as we're honest with each other, we can get through anything." Yui felt a surge of warmth and love. "I love you too, Riku, more than anything." One evening, the club held a small gathering to celebrate the end of another successful project. They sat around a bonfire, roasting marshmallows and sharing stories. "Remember when we first started this club?" Hannah said, laughing. "We had no idea what we were doing." Kenta nodded, grinning. "Yeah, but look how far we've come. We've done some amazing things together." Akeri added, "And we've all grown so much. Not just as a club, but as friends." Sora, who had been quiet, finally spoke up. "I just want to say thank you to all of you. You've been there for me when I needed it most, and I appreciate it more than words can say." Yui felt tears prick her eyes as she looked around at her friends. "We've all been there for each other. That's what makes this club so special." Riku squeezed her hand, his eyes filled with pride and love. "Here's to many more adventures together." As they walked home that night, Yui felt a deep sense of contentment. She knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, she had the support of her friends and the love of Riku to guide her. With the stars shining brightly above them, Yui and Riku walked hand in hand, ready to embrace the future and all the adventures it held. Their journey was far from over, but they were ready for whatever came next, their hearts united by love and friendship. Chapter 15: Graduation and New Beginnings. The final months of the school year flew by in a whirlwind of exams, projects, and preparations for graduation. The atmosphere was bittersweet as Yui, Riku, and their friends approached the end of their high school journey. The School Life Club was busy organizing the graduation ceremony, ensuring that it would be a memorable event for everyone. On the morning of graduation, Yui stood in front of the mirror, adjusting her cap and gown. The reality of the day was sinking in, and she felt a mix of excitement and nostalgia. She had grown so much during her time in high school, and she was grateful for the experiences and friendships that had shaped her. Her phone buzzed with a message from Riku. Riku, ready for the big day. Yui, as ready as I'll ever be, see you soon. Yui smiled, feeling a surge of happiness. She knew that today was not just about saying goodbye to high school, but also about celebrating the journey they had shared and the new beginnings that awaited them. The graduation ceremony was held in the school's auditorium, which was filled with students, teachers, and proud parents. The stage was decorated with flowers and banners, creating a festive atmosphere. Yui took her seat with the other graduates, feeling a sense of anticipation. After the ceremony, Yui found Riku outside, surrounded by their friends. They hugged tightly, the reality of their achievement sinking in. We did it, Riku exclaimed, his eyes shining with excitement. Yes, we did, Yui replied, feeling a mix of emotions. I can't believe it's over. It's not over, Riku said, taking her hand. It's just the beginning. Their friends joined them, and they spent the afternoon taking photos, reminiscing about their favorite memories and celebrating their accomplishments. The air was filled with laughter and joy as they savored the moment. That evening, the School Life Club held a final gathering at their favorite cafe. They had reserved a private room where they could relax and enjoy each other's company one last time as high school students. Hannah raised her glass, her eyes twinkling with emotion. To the School Life Club, and to all the amazing memories we've made together. To the School Life Club, everyone echoed, clinking their glasses. Kenta leaned back in his chair, a contented smile on his face. We've done some incredible things together. I'm going to miss this. Me too, Akeri said, her voice soft. But we'll always have these memories. Sora, who had regained his usual cheerful demeanor, added, and we'll make new ones. Just because we're graduating doesn't mean our adventures are over. Yui felt a lump in her throat as she looked around at her friends. Thank you all for being a part of my life. I couldn't have asked for a better group of friends. Riku squeezed her hand, his eyes filled with love. And thank you, Yui, for being the heart of this club. We couldn't have done it without you. As the evening continued, they shared stories and laughter, their bond stronger than ever. They knew that their paths might diverge, but the friendships they had forged would remain. Towards the end of the night, Mr. Tanaka arrived, surprising them with a cake decorated with the club's logo. I wanted to celebrate with you one last time, he said, smiling. You have all made me so proud. They cut the cake and continued to celebrate, the atmosphere filled with love and camaraderie. Yui felt a deep sense of gratitude for the journey they had shared and the support they had given each other. The following days were filled with goodbyes as everyone prepared to head off to college, work, or other adventures. Yui and Riku spent as much time together as possible, savoring their moments before they started their new journeys. One afternoon, they returned to the spot by the lake where they had shared so many special moments. They sat down, holding hands and watching the sunset. Are you nervous about college? Yui asked, leaning her head on Riku's shoulder. A little, Riku admitted. But I'm also excited. It's a new adventure, and I know we'll stay connected no matter what. Me too, Yui said, feeling a sense of anticipation. We'll visit each other as much as we can, and we'll keep making new memories. Riku turned to her, his eyes filled with determination. No matter where life takes us, I promise we'll always find our way back to each other. Yui felt tears prick her eyes, but they were tears of happiness. I promise too, Riku, we'll always be together. They watched the sun dip below the horizon, the sky painted with vibrant colors. It was a perfect symbol of the ending of one chapter and the beginning of another. On the day of their departure, Yui and Riku met at the train station, their suitcases packed and ready for their new adventures. They stood together on the platform, holding hands and feeling a mix of excitement and nostalgia. This isn't goodbye, Riku said, his voice steady. It's just see you later. Yui nodded, her heart full. See you later, Riku. They hugged tightly, and as the train arrived, they shared a final kiss. Yui boarded the train, waving to Riku as it pulled away. She watched him until he disappeared from view, her heart filled with love and hope. With a smile, Yui looked out the window, the landscape passing by in a blur. She knew that whatever challenges and adventures lay ahead, she would face them with courage and determination. And as the train carried her towards her new beginning, Yui felt a deep sense of gratitude for the journey that had brought her here. It was a journey of growth, friendship, and love, and she knew that it was only just beginning. The future was bright, and Yui was ready to embrace it with an open heart and a spirit full of hope. And with Riku by her side, she knew that anything was possible.